This 911 Strong podcast is brought to you by our partners at the Police Credit Union of California.
As a financial institution founded by law enforcement for law enforcement and their families over 65 years ago, they have the experience and understanding to help you with all your financial needs,
including exclusive products designed specifically for law enforcement professionals. To become a member today, visit thepolicecu.org. That's the police, the letter C, and the letter U.org.
Or call 800-222-1391 and tell them you heard about them from the 911 Strong podcast.
Station to all units.
Prepare to copy.
You're listening to the 911 Strong podcast.
Don't act like I never told you.
With Aram and Kristen, bringing you stimulating discussion.
No, I like the sound of that.
An entertaining conversation.
And now, here's Kristen and Aram.
Hey friends, welcome back to this episode of the 911 Strong podcast. I am Aram Choe, and with me as always is America's favorite dispatcher Kristen. Kristen Jauregui.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, gracias.
Oh, muy bien, Aram.
Gracias. That's it. 11 weeks of Spanish lessons.
De nada.
Yeah. Actually, it's paying off. I spoke a decent amount of Spanish, but I was speaking it very incorrectly. So I'm learning new words. Like instead of excuse me, I would say con permiso, and now I would say disculpe, which is more appropriate. Disculpe in my conversations and different things. Like what's the other word I just learned? Dang it. Whatever.
I can't say any of the words you just learned.
Well, it's just the way I'm learning it. It's in conversation, so I understand. I'm understanding a lot more.
Yeah.
So, but when the instructor reads the dialogue, I understand all of it. Now, when it comes to repeating, I'm a little slower, but I'm gonna get there.
Yeah.
I want to be fluent in Spanish by 2023.
Yep. You should. You should watch some telenovelas, and then in October, for my birthday, just letting you all know, in October, you can have a discussion with my mother-in-law and see how well you do.
Yeah, I think I'm going to understand your mother-in-law a lot more. Just speaking, I'm a little more gun shy, but it just takes practice.
Well, speaking of guns, in October, I will have my Glocktoberfest mug with me.
Yes.
When we celebrate.
Yeah. What are we drinking out of it?
I don't know. I'm going to have probably a margarita.
A margarita. That's going to be a healthy margarita.
It is. I'm going to
is
need it.
Probably a 24, 32 ounce mug, but you get one of these mugs for free. These limited edition Glocktoberfest Pro Force law enforcement mugs. When you go and purchase a Glock from America's favorite Glock blue ribbon dealer, that's Pro Force in Brea. Our friend over there, General Manager Mikey, told me that we got our hands on these, and we're lucky because we actually have to purchase a Glock.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll still purchase one for my birthday.
And then you get another set.
Yeah.
But these are cool. The cool thing about being a Glock blue ribbon dealer is that you have way discounted prices on Glock. So if you want to buy a Glock and you live in Southern California, you'd be crazy to go anywhere else. So the average price of a Glock is like $400 there. And on top of that, you get one of these limited edition collector's mugs. So if you're in law enforcement, you're a first responder, you're in the military, you're in EMS, and you have your ID, that gets you in the door. That's
or
important.
if you have a friend that has it, make them take you.
Yes. So like my wife is a civilian, but she comes with me, and it's like she looks at me and she's like, "It's like a kid in a candy store." It is, because it's like you're walking into John Wick's vault.
Yeah, taking you and Danny in there is pretty dangerous.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
But yeah, that's all throughout the month of October 1 through October 31st. Thank you for bringing that up. But yeah, so when is Kristen's birthday? I have it on my calendar somewhere set to remind me.
You don't know?
Hold on, I'll tell you right now.
So rude. You have to look on your calendar.
I know it's during camping.
I know when yours is, and I don't even need to look at my phone. But just saying, who's the better friend?
You're a better friend. Oh yeah, 23rd. October 23rd. I know it's
Yes.
always during camping.
Always during camping.
Hey, we're a lot going on. It's always during Calico camping. We go camping at the ghost town every Halloween, and we celebrate. I remember one year we got this annoying candle that played music. We could not figure out how to turn the music on.
Yes, I know. That's like Kalia's thing for me is finding some kind of wazoo candle for my cake. So
Speaking
they've
of
been good
cool,
ones.
she wanted a couple things for her 17th birthday, which was a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted a new phone, so we got her. Not that her old phone was broken; it just didn't have enough memory because this kid takes videos and photos like she's a social media
Like if
influencer.
nobody else.
Yeah, and she just doesn't like to delete things. That's a problem. And I get that she's a little OCD in that area. But then she wanted a social media account.
I saw.
Her own page, yeah. So Liz and I talked about it, and I said, out of all our kids, she's probably the one that would be the most responsible to handle it. So as long as we had the password and we can monitor it, she was allowed to have it. So she did.
Yeah.
She's already posting stuff on there that I think is, if it was public, I think she would get a couple followers here and there. But the kids.
She's a good kid.
Yeah, she's a good kid. I'm not worried about her. I'm worried about other people.
Yes. I know.
Anyway, so on today's episode of the 911 Strong podcast, we're going to kind of piggyback off of our last episode where we talked about what it takes to be a dispatcher in 2022. Well, it's going to Spanish in my brain. We're going to talk about what it takes to be a cop in 2022, and it's a lot different than when I started back in the 90s. Not a lot of people. It wasn't a popular profession because we were coming off the heels of Rodney King. And the North Hollywood shootout, and the cops were the public sentiment was the cops were undertrained, under-equipped, and we were racist and we abused our authority. But I didn't see it that way. I had a lot of positive interactions with cops growing up, and I knew a couple cops that were friends of mine in college. And I said, this is what I want to do. This is what I always wanted to do. So I'm going to do it. And if there are those negative what's the word I'm looking for? Connotations when it comes to police, I was going to do my part to change it. I was young, full of ideals, and I wanted to change the world.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of cops today, or people that want to be cops today, feel the same way, because you got to be crazy. If you don't feel like it's a mission, then you're just plain crazy if you want to join this job. Because number one, today in 2022, people feel the same way today that they did back in the 90s. They just don't like us. We're not, I can't say, if you're listening to this, you obviously like us, but there are a huge segment of people out there that don't trust us. They don't like us. They'd rather not have us not be in existence. And there's frankly some people out there who just want to kill us. Yeah. But I got to tell you, shortly after I got hired, 9/11 happened. 9/11 happened in 2001. I was hired in 99. 2 years later, after dealing with the whole "we hate you" cops thing, for about the whole early 2000s, I'd say 2001 through 2010, 2012, we could do no wrong. People loved us. After 9/11, we were America's heroes. We were the world heroes. No matter what we did, we made positive news. People loved us. And then in 2013, 14, 15, we had the Ferguson stuff happen, St. Louis stuff happen, some high-profile police interactions with civilians that caused that negative stain to come back. And here we are 7 years later, and we're still, we're dealing with BLM and, an entire whole organization devoted to hating on cops. But, but here we are. So I got to think, if you're a young person, or any person really, thinking about being a cop in 2022, you're going to have to understand what comes along with the job today. Yeah. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. A lot of negative and hate involved in it.
Yeah. I know it was funny you brought up 9/11, because I was talking with Danny about it yesterday. And I'm like, I think if it happened today, our country's response would be completely different.
You think so?
I think so. I think so. I think it would just add to the divide that we're already going through, and be a lot more finger pointing and blaming than after that, 9/11, like, I think it really unified our country, and everybody was determined and driven to be supportive of our country in any way possible. And a lot of people signed up to go fight the war and everything. But if that happened today, I don't think it would happen. They would blame it on God knows what.
Yeah, I think, you make a valid point there. We're so divided right now as a country, and it's sad. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. I don't want to get too political. But
Yeah. But anyhow, back to the police officers going in there. Yeah, they're going to have to deal with coming on at a point in time where we're not popular or looked at as heroes. I think, at least in the media's eyes, I think a lot of people that you guys come in contact with, at least within our city, I think you guys, for the most part, are treated with respect. Obviously, you're going to be dealing with some members that
Yeah.
don't, but I think our city, we're pretty fortunate with how our community treats us. But they're also going to have to take into account, like, now there's body cameras that are going to record everything, along with people's phone cameras that are going to record everything. And then they have to take into account the retirement age too, because it's a lot longer than
Mhm.
what the rest of us had signed up for.
Yeah, things are kind of working against our profession right now. It's like,
Mhm.
no, hey, now you're dealing with more people that don't like you, and you have to work longer, 7.5 years longer now to collect that retirement.
Right.
So,
And the
but
life expectancies, I think, about 5-ish years.
it used to be. Now it's up to 15 years. So we're living longer.
Okay. So 15 years, right? So, but now they have to retire at what age?
57.5.
57. So you're already
Yeah.
cutting down that time. So when they
Yeah.
retire,
Those stats are kind of misleading because, like, cops now are a lot more health conscious. Science is health conscious. Medical advancements have made us live longer. So it's not that the job external factors have changed as far as the job goes, but medical external factors have changed now. Cops it was a regular thing. Like 30 years ago, you walk down the hallway of our station, there'd be a foot of smoke from
That's true.
People smoked at work.
Yeah.
People smoked in the car. People smoked in the building. You know, things are just cleaner and healthier today. So I think those contribute to why cops are living longer, but the stressors and the dangers have gotten worse, I think.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, I don't think it's safer to be a cop these days. We have people that die within a year of how many funerals have we gone to for our retirees in the last 10 years?
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah, so I think that number is misleading. If you don't have a good foundation of faith and a good discipline, healthy lifestyle, yeah, you're not going to live very long after retirement.
Yeah.
It starts today. I mean, like, I'm
Yeah.
45 and I work my butt off. I
Yeah,
go to
you
war
do.
every day. And if you were friends with me when I was at my heaviest, I was super fat, and now I'm leaner than I have been in a long time. And
Yeah.
usually it goes the opposite way, right? Usually you're healthier.
My
when you're
way.
No. You're so hard you're so
No,
hard
it's
on
true.
yourself.
No, I'm 30 pounds heavier than what I should be, but it's
Oh.
because I haven't been gun ho like I was earlier. So I'm getting back on it. I'm taking my time though. I'm not like putting all my eggs in a basket. I'm slowly working up to it. So
Kristen
and building a habit.
Kristen holds herself at such a high standard because Kristen was a champion. Was it bikini or physique, or what was it called?
It was
Fitness
bikini. Yeah.
Bikini competitor.
Yeah.
She was a champion, and she was on the cover of magazines and stuff. And it's
Yeah.
hard to keep that up. So even if you gained some weight, you're still beautiful, Kristen. You're still.
I know. No, not to go off on a tangent. It wasn't to get all of that. And it just the competition lifestyle just really messed with my head. So I'm okay. I'm working with that. But I'm just adding to what you said. Like, yeah, you go in the opposite direction because you're younger and you have more energy. And then as you get older, it sucks because things start changing. Your metabolism starts changing, sleep patterns, your eating habits, like everything starts changing. So it's good that, like, Aram, you're able to flip it, and now you're like busting your butt and you're able to like work on less sleep, but you're also, doing your jujitsu and everything else, and you're building that healthy habit, and you're still able to balance your eating and your working out and your fun and everything, but it takes time.
Yeah, and it's medical too. So a lot of people don't realize as you get older, your hormones, especially women, your hormones, and especially someone like you who's competed, your metabolism.
My hormones are jacked up.
Exactly. So a lot of people I know that have done fitness competitions, their hormones are jacked up. So I went to a hormone optimization doctor years ago, probably 6 years now. And yeah, my testosterone was normal if you were a female. So so we did some blood tests and blood work and major lab panels, and then they put me on some clinical testosterone, and I've been on testosterone ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Not like enough to make me a bodybuilder, but it has made positive changes in me. It's made my metabolism better. My sleep, I require less sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm more motivated to go to the gym and work out. I can keep up with the young guys in jiu-jitsu. And so, yeah, for me, a simple fix of testosterone was all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like I need this huge cocktail of things to get me to be optimized, but it might be something that you want to look into. I bet you it'd
Yeah,
be worth the consultation.
maybe. I mean, I did my gut check and everything out. So I know that there's certain foods I can't eat. Now I pay attention to how my body reacts when I eat certain foods. Um, and then I did do all the blood work and hormone and all that stuff. And I made them do it because, just for anybody out there, like some of the doctors are like, you don't really need that. And I'm like, well, I'm paying you. You're here to do a job for me. So that's what I'm requesting. And then they reluctantly gave me the blood panel and hormone panel work, and everything came back normal, luckily. So, I'll get into it. It's getting there shortly. My habit's been building and everything else. Next week will be a month since I've been consistent. So it'll get there. I know how to get there. It's just getting back into the groove and stuff like that.
It's been a
So
rough last couple months too to get your head wrapped around things, but sometimes that's the
yeah.
motivation you need to get your mind
Mm-hmm.
out from there. But
Yeah.
we're rooting for you. I think you look fine, but we're harder on ourselves. We're our own worst critics.
Yeah.
But sometimes we need to be like, and back to focusing on changes in
Mm-hmm.
2022. If you don't develop these habits young or when
Mm-hmm.
you're new in your career, they're not going to, you're going to have a hard time getting back to where you need to be. And
Yeah.
you
It's
want
just
to,
keeping those priorities
yes,
and sticking with them
yes,
for sure.
I can see in 2022, when you're hired, when you go to the academy, it's 50% physical.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot more agencies now are putting focus on being healthy. Huntington Beach gives you 40 hours of vacation time or holiday or time off
Mm-hmm.
if you can do this annual fitness test, and that includes, and all it is running 1.5 miles in 13 minutes.
Oh, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. So there's a lot of agencies now that are jumping on board the fitness bandwagon and doing that. Other agencies allow you to work out on duty.
Mm-hmm.
Some agencies are implementing jiu-jitsu training for free
Mm-hmm.
if you show up to class. Our agency is actually talking about that. We're doing some research right now about how to get our officers getting free jiu-jitsu training as long as they show up twice a month. That's not a lot.
Awesome. No, not at all.
It's not even enough, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that we're running into, when we did this informal survey, people just don't want to train. They said, I'll do the gym. I'll show up to the gym twice a month, but jiu-jitsu's hard. It's hard. Yesterday I came home. You can't really see because I have the lights on my face, but I have this nurney on the side of my nose. Oh, it's because of my glasses. And then I got 2 zits that popped, and I was bleeding. There are dudes with faces bleeding. Yeah. I'm like, no, I just popped a zit. My hands, I can't make a fist anymore without warming them up. My elbows hurt, my shoulders hurt, my back hurts. But I love it. I love the competition. I love the
But I think it's just important though, like with jujitsu, one, it's different than the gym. And you know what? If the gym isn't keeping you healthy enough or motivated enough, then try a different type of working out, which is jujitsu. And on top of that, I mean, granted, the gym will give you strength and maybe some endurance depending on what you're doing, but jujitsu is going to give you endurance. And not only that, it's going to help you with use of force and protect you.
Yeah,
like
it's such a valuable skill.
Raising a dumbbell isn't going to keep you safe because it's not like a skill to use during fist fighting or just takedown techniques, So jiu-jitsu, it's going to work you out. It's going to make you burn calories. It's going to help you get stronger with endurance and everything else, but it could save your life. And with today's age and the things that you guys have to deal with, like I just don't, even with Danny, I just don't see why they don't take advantage of it because I think it's important to do. And he even told us the other day, without going into details, that he had to use a jujitsu takedown to restrain somebody, so it does come in handy, and it's something to protect your lives, and I just don't see why you wouldn't. And especially, and maybe people hate me for that, I think the females should be doing it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree 100%. It's a great equalizer. One of the girls that regularly kicked my butt, she was an officer, a federal officer
Mhm.
at jiu-jitsu. She was a purple belt. She regularly kicked my butt. I can overpower her for like 30 seconds and
Mhm.
stay in a position, but it would be just a matter of seconds before she swept me and submitted me.
Yeah.
And guess what? She weighed 105 pounds.
Yeah. I just think, and now looking at her on the street, you versus her, right? Who are they going to fight? Her.
Right. They're
Like,
just
I'm
round two.
sorry. Like you might, people might not like the truth, but the facts are like men have more strength than women for the
Yeah.
most part. Okay. Generally speaking. And if somebody is going to go and attack somebody, they're always going to go for the one they think is weaker, which
Right.
is us females for the most part. And so why not learn like extra techniques? Because
Yeah.
God forbid you're in a situation you can't use your gun or your taser jams or it doesn't hit the right way. And then it's just you and him and you have to wait for your back for 3 minutes.
And it
You know?
teaches you to fight. It teaches you to not just not I don't mean fight like fight against someone, but fight for your life, because
Mm-hmm.
I've been in positions where I'm suffocating. People have, that one of the submission techniques is to basically suffocate. You put the broad part of your body over someone's nose and mouth, as they're already winded. We're already fighting. We do 6-minute rounds, and we do like 5 or 6 of these rounds.
Wow.
And this is at the end of our training.
Yeah.
And we're sweating 5 minutes into training. We're sweating, and we don't
Mhm.
stop until the very end. There's no like, okay, time out. No, you're going. Especially with our coach, our instructor, he's #1 in the world right now, Gabriel Almeida. He's just won triple gold at the World Championships. He's a high profile guy, so the
Mhm.
expectation is you don't go to a gym like ours and half-ass it. He'll kick you out. He'll say, "Hey, thank you for your subscription. See you later." You go to a gym like ours because you want to compete and you want to train and you want to fight for your life. And he understands my job. He
Mhm.
understands I'm a police officer, and his dad actually trains with us. His dad's a purple belt, and he's built like our friend Richard. He's like 6'5", 250 pounds. He smashes me, right? But he's like, "Hey, get out of this position." And I fight. I'm out of breath and I'm suffocating, but I can tell where my body's limits are because I've pushed it to my limits. I
Mhm.
know I'll survive. I'll be okay. And yeah, and I'm glad to say that I was able to sweep him once
Mhm.
out of the 3 times that he swept me, but I was able to sweep him and get out of the position. And that's something that you learn a lot about yourself when you're put in a position where you
Mhm.
can't breathe and you're panicking, you're sweating, and I like it. I'm more confident now in
Yeah.
my ability to get through tough situations.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say that I was ever claustrophobic, but it did fear. I don't like tight spaces.
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
but I've been in tight spaces. I've had to force myself into tight spaces. But so I guess I'm not claustrophobic. I just don't like it. Now I'm more comfortable being in tight spaces because I live in it 4 days a week.
Yeah.
So, but
When I think then it could even get you into that mindset of just like calming down and thinking about what situation
yes,
you're in rather than panicking,
it
you
is. Yeah,
know?
and I do catch myself taking a deep breath. And as I'm hyperventilating, breathing, right, I'm trying to catch
Yeah.
my breath.
But just
'Cause
resetting your thinking and being
yes,
like, okay, this is what I need to do.
right.
Rather than somebody who's never done that and they're like, oh crap, this is it. And just, flailing and panicking.
And for you guys that are cops or thinking about being cops, guess what? The bad guys, the civilians on the street, they're training also.
Mm-hmm.
The people in my class, a majority are civilians. Actually, the last 2 weeks, I was the only cop in there. Everybody else was civilians, and so I would hate to be a cop that doesn't train to have to face these guys on the street because they'll take you down at will. The takedowns, if you don't train, somebody will take you down.
Mm-hmm.
And once you're on the ground, I'm sorry, most cops don't know what to do.
Yeah.
That once a year or once every 2-year defensive tactics training that you're given, that's not enough.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a
Yeah.
wake up call to some people. So
Yeah.
hopefully this is a
So,
wake up call.
so what would you think if you're looking to hire new recruits for 2022, 2023? What do you think? What's some qualities that they need to have?
Well, definitely a lot of the same qualities that are required of cops even back in the 90s, right? You have to have someone that um, is patient, mature, isn't the first thing, has a good communication skills so you can de-escalate things, not someone that can't communicate and just wants to go resort to violence. Someone that's empathetic, someone that's gone through life experience, because when we go out there to help people, we have to know why we're helping them. So empathy goes a long way. That's why we look
Mm-hmm.
for people that have gone through military that have had military background because they traveled the world. They've seen third world countries.
Mm-hmm.
They've seen people go through struggles. That's why they're there. And they're also on ships or in barracks with other people from all over the country outside of their little bubble where they grew up. And they become more empathetic. So and they come out with a certain type of maturity that we like, and we like educated people, not necessarily people that have gone through college, but people that have gone through some sort of education, whether it's martial arts training, auto mechanics training, because those guys end up being good accident reconstruction guys, people that are engineers, people that have gone through construction, because these are all helpful in our profession. And it also shows us that you completed a course of learning, not necessarily, I'm not saying a bachelor's degree, but like, you put yourself through a trade. It means that you started something and you were able to finish it, because we need finishers in this profession. But
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, we need people that have a heart for the job, people that want to help others out,
Mm-hmm.
not people that want to put a badge and a gun on so they can chase people. That's
Mm-hmm.
got to be in you. We look for people that have that tenacity in them. That's why
Mm-hmm.
people that have played team sports are a plus. People that have been part of wrestling teams, football teams, baseball teams. We want that instinct, that fighter animal instinct in there that wants to get the job done, that wants to win.
Yeah.
So, I've often found throughout my career that there's two types of people that are cops. People that have always been in positions of leadership, meaning they played sports. They were put in a situation where they're under the spotlight, and they
Mm-hmm.
were used to it. They're like, wearing a badge and a gun isn't something, that kind of attention isn't new to them. And then there were people that are were always in the shadows, didn't play sports, and maybe they were kind of nerdy, weren't popular. And then all of a sudden they get this badge, shiny badge, gun, and uniform, and they get all this attention, and they don't know how to handle it. And they kind of turn themselves into little monsters.
Yeah.
And I say, hey, we stay away from people like that, and we go more
Yeah.
towards people that have experience where they've been under the spotlight a little bit, where
Yeah.
the expectation and the pressures were put on them to do their job for a team.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we are. We're a team. So, what's different today than it was when I was hired was we have cameras everywhere now.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to have the wherewithal, patience to understand that anything you say and do is going to be recorded.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be recorded. It may be recorded, but you have to come out with a mentality that,
Mm-hmm.
hey, it's going to be recorded. So don't
Yeah.
be these idiots that think, hey, I'm going to say something under my breath that's inappropriate and it's not going to make the news. It'll make the news.
Yeah. And you don't ever want to be that person on the news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then social media too. It's another thing. Social media today isn't just an extra thing people have. It's like a utility. Everybody has it. Everybody's got an electric bill, water bill, gas bill, cell phone, and now social
Mm-hmm.
media.
Yeah.
So you can't, social media, you got to understand that when you're a cop, you're a government official. In California, we're actually classified as government executive officers,
Mm-hmm.
which puts us in the same category as our politicians. So we're one of the few states that does that. That's why our information can be private. We can make our information private online. You can't find my address or phone number online because I've gone through the process to get that removed.
Mm-hmm.
And with that said, there's certain expectations like your privacy, your First Amendment rights. If you think
Mm-hmm.
you have them still, you don't. You're joking. Because
Yeah.
if think about it, politicians, whatever they tweet, whatever they say, that's caught on camera. It's the same thing as a cop.
Yeah.
They're executive
Yeah.
officers. So our First Amendment rights aren't as liberal. As a matter of fact, it's built in policy now. Or if you go to your policy, if you're a California agency and you look in your policy, it's going to say something about employee free speech
Mm-hmm.
and communication. And it's going to have in there that, yes, although we want to protect our First Amendment rights, we have to protect our citizens from officers that may not share the values of the organization.
Mm-hmm.
So if you say something that's racist, sexist, or something that doesn't go against your agency's ideals, and it's on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
and you think it's private because your account's private, you're wrong. It's going to make it out there,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to have no choice but to fire you, because we can't have someone that's going to be going against the department's core values
Mm-hmm.
employed by us.
Yeah.
So,
And that's something to think about before you're even applying.
Yeah.
If that's something you're going to do, then you need to really, if you are private, then really clean everything out. But just know for the most part, whatever you put out there doesn't really ever disappear either.
No. Absolutely not. You got to be mature enough to, not, like I've said this before about social media influencers, just because you have an audience doesn't mean you have the responsibility to handle that audience. There are some
Mm,
people with big audiences that say the most irresponsible things,
yeah.
and they suffer for it. But yeah, we're dealing with that too with the hiring process, and as part of backgrounds, we're looking into people's social media. So that's something to think
Hmm.
about too. Make sure all that stuff is cleaned up. But yeah, I don't think there's, with the technology, we need officers that are technologically savvy too,
Hmm.
especially because if you want to be, our detectives come from, we're not like the FBI. You don't get hired and automatically you're a detective. No, you have to do patrol, and we pick our detectives from the level of patrol. We want people that are technologically savvy because a lot of our investigations include technology now. We're using
Hmm.
traffic cameras, internet, GPS, coordinating with cell towers. A lot of that's available to us, and so we have some detectives that's just over their head because when they started out, that wasn't around. And
Yeah.
now we have this, but luckily we have this new batch of detectives that they were surrounded by technology, so it's more familiar to them when they go to these
Hmm.
classes and learn. So, yeah, basically, we want people that have the ability to be a sponge, to learn, because whatever technology we're experiencing today in 2022, I can't imagine what's going to be 20 years from now. So
Oh, yeah.
it's going to be
Yeah.
crazy. People that can roll with the punches. I heard this a long time ago when I was a young deputy. It was a captain that elevated all the way to the rank of under sheriff. Um, he said the secret to success is to be able to roll with the punches, and that struck a chord with me because that conversation came on the heels. He was with me when another deputy was telling me, "Dude, I'm old school. I did this. Nothing's ever going to change. I'm not going to
Hmm.
change my ways." And he came up to me, said after he left, he says, "Hey, do you know why he's still a deputy, line level deputy after 25 years?" And I just figured, well, I mean, he didn't want to promote. Well, no, he actually tried to promote several times, but he was reluctant to change.
Yeah.
And you have to change with the times. If
Hmm.
you can't be stuck in the old ways because you'll get left behind.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree with that. You have to be. It's something like I always say it when we teach in our classes, like law enforcement, and I'm sure many other areas of careers are always like, oh, I wish this would happen, or I wish
Yeah.
this would happen, or I wish we could do this, or wish we could do that. And then once they implement change, they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. It's always worked this way. Why are we doing that? Like,
Yeah.
we always complain about change, but we always complain about wanting change. Like like it's
Yeah.
change is gonna happen whether you want it to happen or not. And like you said, either you roll with it and you advance, or you're stuck behind.
Right.
And it's one of those things you're going to have to learn to work with it one way or the other. And if you're not competent with it, and it's something like maybe back in DB, like, okay, maybe the older ones aren't competent with some of the, no new technology. Okay. But now they can go, okay, well, this person over here, that's his strength. So I'm going to go hit
Yeah.
him up for help. It's just working around it and finding what works for you. But you're going to have to embrace it to some extent and figure out how to make it work for you.
Yeah. You cannot survive a 30-year career if you can't roll with the punches. If you can't embrace change, change is going to come.
Yeah.
But if you're one of those guys, which is fine, we have friends that intentionally want to stay in patrol for the rest of their
Oh
career.
yeah. And I don't blame them either
Yeah.
because they're happy with where it's at. They're good
Yeah.
with living within their means at that point. And
Yeah.
I don't blame them. I think to
Right.
some extent, like, yeah, why wouldn't we want to just stay in patrol? Maybe move around, maybe not.
Yeah.
Because once you advance, it's either more responsibility, or the higher up you go, it becomes more about politics than it does about,
Yeah. Absolutely.
directly helping the people in your community. So it's just you pick what you want. But yeah, if
Yeah.
you're one of those ones that applies all the time and you don't get picked, it might be the issue might be more you than it is your department.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if you're one of those people that want to be a cop today, or if you are a young officer today, you got to be cognizant that times are changing and you have to embrace the changes. One of the things that whether you like it or not, is the body cam thing. If your
Mhm.
agency doesn't have body cams today, you will have it eventually. You will get body cams. We resisted it for so long,
So long.
and but I'm like, oh shoot, as a supervisor now, I'm like, thank you, thank God we had these body cams because it's exonerated so many complaints.
Yeah.
I
I
had
think
one.
there's a lot more pros than cons to it. There really
Absolutely.
is.
And we're learning from them. I mean, we've had, unfortunate accidents, and unfortunate situations, tragic situations where we've had to review the body cam footage, but it taught us very, very important lessons that we can pass on, and hopefully it'll save other officers. So
Yeah.
speaking of body cam and cell phone cams, just before we go, I want to plug in my new show. I'm part of a new show that's premiering. Well, by the time this comes out, it's already premiered, but it's a national TV show called iCrime. It's with the old ABC News anchor Elizabeth Vargas. She hosted 2020 and
So cool.
America's Most Wanted. I got picked to be one of the panel experts, and so I've been recording now for the last couple months with them. But it's iCrime. Check your local listings in the Los Angeles area. It'll be on Fox 11 on Saturdays. But in other markets, it's a Monday through Friday show that's at 10 a.m. or 10:30, depending 10 and 10:30 a.m. in most markets. But in Los Angeles, it'll be on Saturdays from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So 2 episodes, 7 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. on Fox 11 in the greater Los Angeles area. You can check your local listings for iCrime. I just want to throw that plug in there. Because,
So what is it about?
Oh, so iCrime. So they take all these, a lot of the viral videos that go on the internet are recorded by cell phone, right?
Right.
Well, they take these cell phone crimes captured on film, and a lot of times they find the person responsible for taking it, the victims, the people, the witnesses that are in it, and they'll bring them on, and Elizabeth will interview them, and they'll break down the video. And then to talk about some of the technical aspects, they'll bring in some experts like me. I'll talk about the police ramifications. And then they have like car experts talk about like car chases and different things. It's really cool. It's a different format. It's fast paced. It's about as, if these viral videos go viral for a reason, this is more of the, let's break down the viral video. Because there's a lot of people that watch these videos, and if you read the comments, there's a lot of questions. It's like, wait, why did this happen? Why did that?
Yeah.
It'd be nice if a cop jumped in and asked about it. Well, that's what they did. They took that idea and they made it into a show.
Neat.
So, yeah, iCrime with Elizabeth Vargas. Check your local listings. It's huge. It's 95% of the country will be able to watch it.
That's awesome.
It's not on cable. It's not streaming. It's on your regular network TV. So it's accessible to everybody.
Okay. Don't forget us little people, Aram.
I know, right? I hope I really do. in my heart, I really do hope it's a success because I enjoy doing it. I've developed a relationship with the producers on the show now, and it's funny to, from the first week of recording till now, I didn't know anybody's names. It was such a big production. You see Elizabeth on the other side of the camera, and now it's like I know everybody's name. They know my name. We joke. It's fun, and it's really close to like being a part of a real television show.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's my first real television show, and I don't know if it's going to last. TV shows coming.
You never know what's going to stick, but yeah.
Right. But so it's really going to be incumbent upon our viewers to watch and get those ratings up so that I can continue to be part of the show because I like it.
That's so cool. That's so neat. Do you know if they started like an Instagram for it yet?
They actually, it's not public yet. I think they made it public, but it's not. There's nothing.
I would think around when it airs, they'll probably.
Yeah. But it's iCrime official.
Okay.
It's the one I follow. So if you go on iCrime, they only have like 12 followers. It's just us experts and the producers because they haven't really advertised anything on it yet. They put out one promo already on some of the markets, and it's all Elizabeth Vargas and some of the clips. But the editors are working really hard just to get the show. The show starts Monday, and we're still
Okay.
Yeah, we're still recording, but they're trying to finalize stuff. But they did promise me that they'll have some promo videos and stuff and clips with me in it, so I'll share that on my socials.
Push it out. Yeah,
eventually.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but
cool.
I can't even watch it when it comes out on Monday because the LA market isn't going to premiere until Saturday, and unfortunately, Fox 11 is showing the USC game at 7:00. So that my show is being pushed back till 11 p.m.
Oh wow!
So in order for me to watch it,
you're gonna have to not be a grandpa and stay up and watch it
at 11 a.m. or 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Anyhow, that's it. Just want to get that plug in there, and we've kind of gone over our time anyway. But thank you guys for listening. Did we leave anything out, Kristen?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know. If we did, we'll throw it on the next one.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good thing about a podcast is we're not tied down to like a a real production.
We could do what we want whenever
Oh,
we want.
Speaking of ratings and stuff like that, man, we were right on the bubble. We've been lucky enough to be in the top 100 and top 50 at one time on Apple Podcast United States. We're lucky enough to be internationally in the top 100, but we slipped out of the top 100 again in the United States. We're still good internationally, but it's hard to maintain in the US because so many new podcasts premiere and they bump us out.
Yeah.
We always come back. Well, right now, I've been keeping track the last 3 days. We've been floating around 185 to 215.
Okay.
So we just need our listeners to.
We'll have to do some work.
Yeah, get in there. But hey, we're in the top 200. I mean, who
Yeah.
can claim about that? Because there are literally in the U.S. there's hundreds of thousands of podcasts, and for us to be on the charts is amazing. So thank you again. We couldn't do it without our listeners. So thank you guys for doing that for us. Thank you for making us one of the top podcasts out there in the country, in the world, and we couldn't do it without you guys. All right, we'll catch you guys next time. Adios.
See you later, alligator.
Bye.
Bye.